The Blockstream Jade is an affordable and easy to use Bitcoin hardware wallet, which I have covered in the show before. They've recently rolled out some new features and functionalities which allow this device to be an air-gapped, stateless signing device. Now what does that mean? It means that the keys to your money actually don't reside on the Jade, but rather externally on a scannable QR code. This device now becomes a mechanism only through which you sign and approve transactions. Today we're going to take a look at how to set up and use exactly what I've just spoken about. I am Ben with the BTC Sessions. This is your daily session.
Hodl the Bitcoin.
Before we dive in, quick shout out to sponsors of the show, hodlhodl.com. If you're buying Bitcoin and you have some priorities in mind, like peer-to-peer trading, instant self-custody, and no KYC, this is the place to go. You can head there, sign up with nothing more than an email address, and once you're in, scroll down, choose a currency, a payment method, an amount, and start viewing offers immediately. They also have a lending platform where nothing is ever rehypothecated. Check them out today. Links are down in the show notes. Now, of course, when you get some sats, you're going to want to secure them in awesome hardware. Now, in this video, we're covering the Jade, but I also love everything that is being done by CoinKite. The Cold Card Mark IV is my go-to device, and I've got a ton of other great stuff from them, including the Tap Signer, the Sats card, the Block Clock, the Open Dimes, and coming really soon, which I'm excited for, is the Cold Card Q1. If you want to reserve that and you want to pick up anything else that I mentioned, head to coinkite.com. Use code BTC Sessions for 5% off everything in the store. Up next, we've got Seedor. When you've got your devices, you're also going to want to back up those seed phrases very securely, and their robust capsule and disk design is meant to secure your seed from the elements. Their starter set comes with everything that you need. So you get a capsule, all the disks that you need, a mallet, and all of your letters, and a little stencil so that you can get the letters in just the right placements. This thing is beastly. It absolutely beats the hell out of most other options on the market. And in terms of what you get with it, you can secure 2 full seed phrases with this package, and it will protect your seed from the elements, things like fire, water, corrosion, and you'll have that peace of mind that your backups are safe and secure. So check them out. Links are in the show notes down below. Highly recommend, and I will be doing a tutorial on this soon as well. Up next, if you're looking to dive into multisig, namely assisted multisig, Nunchuk's Honey Badger program is hard to beat. I use it myself. Basically what it is it's a multisig in which they will hold one key for you, you hold the rest. You set it up very simply on your mobile device, and it works with things like the Tap Signer, the Cold Card, even the Jade that we just mentioned. On top of that, it has baked in inheritance planning, and the whole thing is non-KYC. I love it. Highly recommend you check it out, nunchuk.io. And finally, big shout out to Start9, your sovereign computing solution. This is where you can run all of your Bitcoin infrastructure. I'm running the Start9 Server Pure, which is their top end model, but they have everything from entry level all the way up to what I have. Basically plug and play device. You can run Bitcoin Core, Lightning, mempool.space. You can host your own data as well, files, passwords, photos, Nostr relays and clients, all kinds of great stuff. I've done a tutorial on it. Check them out. And yeah, Start9 is the way to go if you're going to run a node. And with that, let's dive into the tutorial. So once again, we're going to be covering the Blockstream Jade in a way that makes it a stateless signing device, meaning it does not retain the information about your keys. You keep them separately, and the device just becomes a mechanism through which you can approve transactions simply. We're going to be pairing it today with Nunchuk Wallet on mobile. Now, I've done tutorials on this before, so let's talk a little bit about prerequisites. What are you going to need to know in order to do this? Well, number one, you're going to need to get Nunchuk Wallet on your mobile device. It can be found on the Apple and Google Play Store, and very simple to get for your phone. You're also going to need, of course, a Blockstream Jade if you're following along. I have covered the Blockstream Jade a couple times before because they keep on updating and adding in new functionality, which is the reason we're covering it again today. But if you want to take a look at the Jade being used kind of regularly, plugged in, or using Bluetooth with a mobile device, you can go check out those videos. They will be linked down below if you want to see the other ways in which you can use this. So you can check out those as well. The only other thing that I would say that you could check out is Blockstream Green, which is the mobile and desktop wallet in which you would link this to. We're going to briefly touch on that in terms of software updates at the very beginning, because some of you may have a Blockstream Green that you've already been using, but you want to be able to update in order to use what we're doing today, which will be necessary. So you will need to wire it into a computer or use your phone via Bluetooth for that. And we'll cover that briefly. It's pretty simple. Outside of that, you're pretty much set. If you know how to do basic Bitcoin transactions, then you should be good. If not, go back and watch some other stuff that I have, some beginner stuff. But yeah, we're basically going to be taking this. We're going to be turning it into a device that can create a seed phrase, so that can create the keys to your money, but then will not store it internally, and it will be stored externally to the device as a QR code like this. And so then when you want to use it and sign transactions, you would set up the transaction in a wallet and say, hey, I want to do this. And you would basically take this device, scan your QR code to temporarily load on the keys to your money to this device, and then interact with Nunchuk Wallet to approve your transaction, send it off. And then as soon as you turn this off, if anybody ever got a hold of it, they would have nothing. They would have no access to your money because it doesn't even reside on the device. It's very similar, if you've seen some of my previous videos, to the functionality of something like the Seedsigner. And you can go back. I'll include that in the show notes as well. I will also say that you can do this in a way in which the keys are retained on the device, but you're just using QR codes to scan back and forth. So it is air gapped. We're going to do the QR version first, like the external QR version first. And then if you watch further into the video, we'll do the version where the keys stay on the device. It requires a special pin rigmarole that we'll go through. And then you can just simply scan QR codes instead of plugging in or using Bluetooth. So it is air gapped as well. So let's dive in. Let's get you started and see what is first. All right, so out the gate here, I'm going to get you to do just a couple of things. Number one, I want you to head over to blockstream.com/green, and you're going to hit download now for their desktop green wallet. That's the one I'm going to be using in this video. However, you can also get it for your mobile device in either app store, and you can pair that to the Jade as well. This is going to be used for firmware updates to make sure you're on the latest version so you can do exactly what we're doing here. If you're unsure how to pair it with your Jade when it comes to your mobile device, go back to my other video, check that out. Because this will be brief in terms of the mention of firmware updates. The other thing you're going to want to do, and I'll link this in the show notes, is you're going to head to this advanced Jade setup walkthrough, and you're going to scroll down a little bit. I may just include the actual direct link, but there's a provided template that they have for these QR codes that you're going to create. And it looks like this. It's just a printable QR code, both for 12 words and 24 words, depending on what you're wanting to do. And you can just print it off, and then you will fill that in. And then finally, you're going to make sure that you have a Sharpie, one of these bad boys, so that you can dot it out, or some sort of a marker so that you can make all your dots on your QR code to use it in air-gapped mode. Anyways, once you've got that done, we'll jump to the next part and we'll talk about the firmware upgrade. So now there's going to be two scenarios for people watching this video. Some will be using their Blockstream Jade for the first time and want to set it up in this method. If that's the case, when you first turn on your device, it's going to look something like this, and it's going to say set up Jade. However, if you have a device that you've already been using and you've already set up a seed phrase with it and it currently is housed in the device actively, it will look like this, and it will say unlock Jade. And I should note that both of these are on the most recent firmware, so the interface may look a little bit different, and that's okay. Either way, all you're going to do is you're going to get your cable and you're going to hook it into your computer, and you're going to have Blockstream Green up on your desktop like so. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like for each one. So this is the device I'm plugging in right now that is not currently set up. It doesn't have a seed phrase linked to it. It's going to pop up here and it's going to say, oh, look, you can connect your Jade and use it with Green. You can set it up. You can set it up in testnet. You can check for updates. If your device is not updated to the latest firmware, you will get a pop-up here that says, hey, do you want to update? And if that's the case, you hit OK, you allow it to, and then it will prompt you on your device to approve the firmware upgrade. It's a couple of taps and then you're done. Very basic, just do what the screen tells you and that's it. I'm going to disconnect this one. It's going to look a little bit different now. So I just disconnected. I'm now plugging in the one that's already initialized. Okay, so the initialized one is going to look like this. That means it has a seed phrase on it already. And then you're going to unlock it. So in some instances, you may need to hit this unlock button here. So I'm going to hit unlock, and on my device, it's just going to bring up my pin screen where I need to put in the pin phrase that I previously set up with this device. So I'm just putting that in right now really quick. And once I put that in, it will unlock everything. And similarly, if you are not on the current version of the firmware, it will give you a pop-up, ask you to approve it, and the pin will be involved there. And again, a few taps later, you'll be all set up on the latest firmware, at which point we can move forward. I'm going to, from this point, I'm going to be using this as if it were a brand new device, but it will function similarly. You may need to, if you want to use it in this fashion, you may need to make sure you have your other seed phrase backed up and kind of wipe off the old seed. Now I want to specify something here. If your device is already housing a seed phrase, if it's already set up, you previously wrote down your words, and it currently has a seed phrase on it, that means that you won't be able to go through the process of the QR creation. So if that's the case, number one, make sure that your seed phrase is good. Hopefully you've already done a recovery process. If you want to use it in this method, then you will be able to, if you factory reset the device. But basically we're going to start as if it is completely clear and factory reset on its own. However, I will say that if you already have one of these things, maybe you've been using Seedsigner or something like that. If you already have an actually written out QR code that is scannable, then you can still use it in the air gap method, even though there's a seed phrase, a set of keys already on the device. So this is just applying to if you want to create a brand new seed and create a QR code to be able to scan, yeah, the device has to be wiped clean and have no seed phrase on it whatsoever, at least while recording this video. So keep that in mind and we'll forward. From this point forward, we will no longer need Blockstream Jade. It was only utilized to update the firmware, and now we can go ahead with seed creation and utilizing it air-gapped with Nunchuk. So let's go to the Jade and set up our seed. Okay, so here I have everything I need. I've got the Blockstream Jade. I've got a printed copy of a QR code, which this one is specifically for 12 words, which is what I'm going to be using for this example. I've got a Sharpie here so that I can mark this up. for use later. And then I've got a mobile device which currently has Nunchuk Wallet on with no accounts or keys or anything in it currently. Although you can, if you're already using Nunchuk, it's fine if you already have something loaded into this as well. So we're going to notice that it's unplugged. We're going to boot up this device and get started with it. So I'm just pressing the button for a couple of seconds at the bottom. I'll zoom in on the screen here so we can see what's going on. Okay, so option 1 is to set up the Jade. If you scroll to the right using the wheel, there is scan seed QR, and then there is options, and then it cycles back to the front. So we're going to set up our Jade. We're going to press the front button. It says for setup instructions, please visit this website. We're going to hit continue. Now, if we want to use this with the QR scanner, that is an advanced setup. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go forward to choose the second option. Now it says technical features will be presented, proceed with caution. I'm going to hit continue. And then it says we can either create a new wallet or restore a wallet. So we're going to create a new one. We choose between 12 and 24. We're going to choose 12 in this instance. Then it says these words are your wallet. Keep them protected and offline. So I'm going to hit continue. And then it's going to list out 12 words. Each time that I want to advance past these words, I hit the button and it'll go to the next one. Or if I need to go back, see the 2 little arrows in the top, I just navigate with those so I can jump back to the first 4. I'm going to write down all 12 and then we'll be right back. Now, once I've gotten through and written down all 12 words, I'm going to again advance with the green arrow to the right, and it will say, we'd like you to confirm your words. So it'll show me one word, a question of what the word is that comes in between, and then the final word. So in this instance, it's showing me word number 4 and word number 6. And it's saying, hey, what's word number 5 that goes between these? Now, you scroll side to side with the wheel up top. Now, from the words that I was taking at the beginning, I accidentally backed out of it, so I got a new set of words. But anyways, nonetheless, I have them written down here. So I'm just going to cross-reference. So between number 4 and 6, I can see that number 5 is topic. So I can just scroll through until I see the word topic. There it is. And I select it with the button in front. And I move on. I'm going to do this for as many queries as it asks, and then we'll move forward. So it ended up asking me about 4 of the words. Once I got through, I now see this screen. Export recovery phrase as a compact seed QR. Yes, this is what you would like to do so that we can transfer it to the paper. We're going to say yes. And it says, would you like to draw the compact seed QR for use with QR mode? We're going to say yes. And then it says, hey, you're going to draw the seed QR, and we can hit start. So what this does is the piece of paper you have is a grid, and you can see the letters along the side here and the top here. So right now it is showing me grid A1. And so you can see A1, it already has all of the appropriate boxes filled in. And so I don't need to make any markings in box A1. If I advance, it now shows me a pattern. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put black dots in the corresponding boxes that I have on this blank seed QR. Now, you don't need to fill the entire square. I've found that just a simple dot that pretty much fills most of the box or a portion of the box is more than sufficient. And with a Sharpie or a marker, I found just pressing there, like that. I've got the cap on, but just as an example, is totally fine. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to fill this all in. And basically, again, you advance forward and backwards with the 2 green arrows on top. You can go forward or back. So if I want to go to the next box, it shows, of course, that one is filled in as well. Next box, it jumps down to column B, and I can then start to fill that in. So I'm going to go back to the first one I needed to fill, which was box A2. I'm going to start putting in my dots. We'll come back when I'm all done, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so I've just finished the last section here, and I've gotten all the way through the QR. So this is what it looks like once you've dotted it out. You can see it's not perfect. Some of the dots are different sizes and everything, but in general, there's a dot in the middle of the appropriate boxes. Okay, so this is what yours will look, or similar to this, obviously totally different dots. But when I get to the end, I'm going to advance past the last grid, and then it says seed QR on template, and we're going to hit the done button, which is the bottom there. And then it says initializing camera, scan created QR to verify. So I'm simply going to scan the QR I've created. And then I get this message that says QR code verified, and I can press continue on the bottom. Now it says, would you like to add a BIP39 passphrase? You will need this to access your funds. Now, why would I add a passphrase to this? Well, because if I have this sitting out as a scannable QR code, this is the keys to my money. And so I'd like to perhaps add a little bit of extra security to this. So you can basically add a secret word on top of your existing seed phrase. So we wrote down 12 words. It's like adding a 13th word there, but you're adding the 13th word also on top of the QR code version of it too. So whether you have your words, your 12 words, or whether you have the QR code, you're going to need this passphrase. So I am going to add a passphrase in this instance. I'll show you how it works. So we're going to choose yes. And then it says enter passphrase. Okay. Lots of different options here, but I'm basically going to choose just a very simple. I'm just going to say ABC. So A, B, C. And then I'm going to go to the check mark in the bottom right and choose that. And it says, hey, this is your passphrase. Confirm it. ABC, is that right? If I hit no, I'll go back and adjust it. If I hit yes, that is now the passphrase that I'm using. Okay, so now it says select connection. How are you going to be using this wallet? Well, we want to use it via QR code. It's going to be fully air gap, meaning it's not going to keep this seed phrase on the device. I'm going to hit QR. Okay, so it says, would you like to save and encrypt the wallet with a pin, or would you like to scan the QR every session? And so these are the two different ways of doing it that I was alluding to at the beginning. We can actually retain the seed information here and then use this kind of as a QR scanner back and forth, but we won't have to import our seed every time. But we're going to see what it looks like as a stateless device that retains no information in between sessions. So we're going to say we want seed QR. And it says this wallet will be temporary and forgotten on reboot. I'm going to hit continue. If I want to back out of that, I would just go back to the arrow up top. But I'm going to hit continue. Okay, here we are. So we are officially logged in to this wallet. All right, so the seed, the keys to our money is currently on this device. However, I'm going to show you what it would look like if we weren't currently logged in once we get through the rest of this. While we're already logged into our seed, while this information is currently residing on the device, we want to export it into our desired wallet or interface of choice. There are many, but in this video, we're going to be using Nunchuk Wallet on mobile. So I've got Nunchuk Wallet pulled up in the background on my mobile device. It is blank, as I said before, and if you need to learn about Nunchuk, head back to my other video. But in this case, we're going to go ahead and scroll over to Options. Then we're going to go to Wallet, and then we're going to go to Export XPub. And this gives us an animated QR code. Now, the cool thing about this is the QR code may be a little small depending on what kind of phone you have and how good the camera is. So you can actually go down to Options and you can choose QR density, and you can go to high or low or medium. I'm going to go low just to kind of show you what that looks like. And it looks basically the same, but the QR isn't as densely populated and there's more frames instead, which could be easier to scan with a camera that is not as good on a smartphone. Okay, so what next? Let's zoom out. So I have that QR code animated on the screen there. It's moving away, okay? And then I've got Nunchuk Wallet. So what I'm gonna do within Nunchuk Wallet is I'm gonna go to the keys section, I'm gonna hit the plus sign, and I'm gonna hit add air-gapped key. I'm gonna hit continue, and I'm gonna give it a name. This will be, we'll just say Jade, and we'll hit, ooh, I didn't mean to hit add key yet. So I gave it a name, Jade, and then down below, I can either paste in information, I can import a file, but we need to scan a QR code. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hit scan QR. We're gonna allow the camera. That brings this up, and I'm gonna scan what's on my Jade and just let it gradually populate that information. You'll get a percentage kind of adding up to 100% over time. So that fills in all the information. I'm gonna hit add key. Okay, I can now see I have a key named Jade. I'm gonna hit done, and I now have Jade listed under my keys. Now we're not done, we need one more thing. Nunchuk can be used in many different ways, including multisig wallets. So sometimes you have multiple keys listed here, and then you'll have a singular wallet in which many keys are a part of, or you could have a variety of things. So we need to specify we want a wallet linked to the Jade that's a regular single sig wallet. So I'm going to hit plus on wallets. We're going to hit create new wallet. I'm just going to call this Jade Single, I guess. That's an easy name for it. Okay. I'm going to hit continue. And then you choose which keys you want to be a part of this wallet. Well, we've only got one here. You might have others if you've been using this previously, but I'm going to choose the Jade. Required keys 1, and there's only one selected, so it's not a multi-sig, it's a single sig. We're gonna hit continue. All right, so wallet name is gonna be Jade Single. It is a single sig wallet. Wallet type is a standard wallet, native SegWit, that's the type of address you're using. You don't really need to know that. And then we're gonna hit continue. This is your wallet configuration file. I would say you don't necessarily need to save this because you can very easily recreate it at any point with your single sig wallet. If it was a multi-sig wallet, yeah, it would probably be very important to save this. I'd say you don't need to worry about it. I'm gonna hit I'll do this later. And here we go. We've got a Jade single sig wallet in our phone. So if I click on it, I've got a receive screen, sending options, addresses, all that good stuff. So we can now basically use the Jade with Nunchuk as we see fit. Okay, great. So we're all set up here on the Jade, and I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see what's going on. Options. Okay, go back. Great. We're back on the main screen. Everything is all set up and good to go. And you know what we're going to do? We're actually going to turn off the device. We're going to pretend it was put away for a little bit, and we're going to start using it in a moment and see what we can do with it. So we'll just turn it off really quick. And I just did that by holding the bottom button. Okay, let's turn it back on. There's our intro screen. And, interesting. We get in, it says setup Jade. Scan seed QR, options. Basically, it looks as it was before we did any sort of setup. It says uninitialized down in the bottom left. And it's basically a blank device. There's no information about your seed on it. And that is as we intended it through the setup. And now we can see how to interact with this as a signing device. Okay, so we have an uninitialized Jade. We have our seed QR code ready to be scanned, and we want to start using this wallet. Great, what do we do? Okay, well on the Jade, you're gonna go not to the main option, which is setup Jade. We don't want that. We've already done our setup. We're gonna go over one to scan seed QR. This will open up our camera so we can scan the QR that we have, our seed. Upon scanning the QR, it'll say, would you like to enter a passphrase? Now, if you didn't add a passphrase, all you would do is just go to the check mark. It will ask if you're sure you don't want to add a passphrase, and then you're good. However, we did add one. We did A, B, C, and so I'll go back now to the check mark. It says confirm. We'll say yes. And now we're logged in to our appropriate wallet that is associated with the one we put on Nunchuk on the mobile device. So this device is now ready to sign and approve transactions with the appropriate seed, which is also secured by the passphrase that we entered. Great. Let's jump to Nunchuk and take a look at our wallet there. All right, so I'm going to select Jade Single to this familiar screen that we've seen before, and we've got a receive address here. And let's say we want to receive funds into that. One thing that is a good idea to do is on your Jade to go over to scan QR, which is the second option. Hopefully that's might not focus for me, might not like me right now. Nonetheless, it says scan QR, the second option. We're going to do that. Why? Because we want to verify that the QR code within Nunchuk Wallet is indeed governed by the seed or the keys that are currently housed in the Jade. So I'm going to open my camera. I'm going to scan the QR on the screen there. And it says, would you like to verify this address? And maybe I'll zoom a little bit. It says, hey, would you like to verify this address? I'm going to hit the check mark. It says address verified. And it even gives the derivation path for those of you that understand what that is. Well, continue. Fantastic. So that means that I'm safe to receive money to this address. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to open up another wallet that I have. In fact, I'm going to do it on another phone that I have open here. And I'm just going to use another wallet that I've got to scan that QR code. So I've got the address right there. I need to put in how much I'm sending. So I'm going to send over 100,000 sats, which at the time of this video is around $28, something like that. I'll hit prepare transaction. By the way, this is Phoenix Wallet. If you're curious, I have a video on it. You can go check it out. I'm going to hit pay and off it goes. And so momentarily, what I'll see is I'll see an update to my balance within Nunchuk Wallet. So I'll back out of this. I can jump back in. If you do need to refresh, oh, never mind. I'm not going to even refresh. There we go. So we can see 100,000 sats or 0.001 BTC sitting there. And actually, you know what? I feel like changing the settings there. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to say display sats. Okay. Jump back. Okay, 100,000 sats. That looks better to me. Anyways, so we've now received money just from the receive screen in our Jade wallet. If I wanted to receive another transaction, I would just hit receive, and it shows me my QR code there. Nonetheless, we have funds inside of this wallet. Now, what happens if we want to send them out? That is the tricky bit, and that is the part that involves using your Jade in a signing manner with QR codes back and forth, and we'll tackle that next. Okay, great. So you've got money in your Jade wallet. You can see the balance within Nunchuk, and you'd like to make a transaction. You'd like to send some money out. How do we do this? Well, I've got my Nunchuk wallet here. I've got the Jade, which I've actually now turned off so we can see the full flow of logging back in, using the QR code to begin to sign things. Okay, so I've got Nunchuk here, and I've also got my other Phoenix wallet over here with the Bitcoin address queued up just for easy scanning. Fantastic. Okay, so within Nunchuk Wallet, I'm going to choose send. Okay, in the top right, there is a little QR scanner. So I'm going to tap that. That's going to open up my QR scanner. Gives me a nice little beep when it scans it, actually. And then we're going to select how much we'd like to send. I can manually type in the amount, or I can hit send all, which I'm going to do. So all 100,000 sats. It will auto configure fees, and if the fee is coming off the total amount, given that I'm sending the max amount. If you want to bypass all of that, when I hit continue, it allows you to customize the transaction and tinker around with your fees and all that. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to go the easy way. I'm going to hit create transaction. Okay, so it now says, hey, you're looking to send this amount to this address. We need a device to sign this transaction, and we're going to hit sign in a moment, but we need to make sure our device is ready to sign this transaction. So let's boot up the Jade and we'll get rolling on that. Okay, so the Jade is on. I'm going to go one over to scan seed QR. Once we've scanned the QR, we put in our passphrase, A, B, C, check mark. We'd like to confirm that. We'll hit yes. And we're now properly logged in. Okay, great. So this device is ready to sign. We'll jump back to Nunchuk. So from the main screen, we're going to choose sign. It now gives us two options, import signature or export transaction. We want to export the transaction. And it gives two more options. Do you want a QR or a file? We want a QR code. So this now gives us an animated QR code. Now, what I've found with the Jade is it's best if you make the density of this QR as low as possible. So I like to have it super low like this. It makes it a little bit easier for the camera on this to scan it. So I'm gonna have it here. It's animated below. Okay. On the Jade, what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna navigate to scan QR. There's a progress bar on the screen, which you can't currently see. And once it fills all the way, it will say, hey, you would like to send this amount to this address. Now you'll notice it's a little bit less than the initial amount. That has to do with the on-chain fee, which we'll see. It says, yep, there's your fee, 976 sats, it looks like, I think. There's a lot of decimals there. Nonetheless, I can either cancel or approve the transaction, which I'm going to do. And then it gives me, again, another animated QR code. So this is my transaction with the approved signature on it. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll grab now, I'll get this one out of the way. I don't need it. I'll grab my phone. And so we exported the transaction. Now we need to import the signature, which is down at the bottom. So this is our approval, and we're going to scan it from the Jade. Once again, you just kind of hover it over top. There'll be a progress bar. It doesn't need to be super close to the screen, to be honest. And once it goes up to 100%, you will have your signature. So you can see it now says signed, and I can now hit broadcast transaction, and off it goes. We have an outgoing transaction. We have the previous one coming in, all that. I should actually see it. By the way, on the Jade, you can just hit the back button and you'll be back to your main screen, and that's all good. And on the other phone, I can see there's my previous transaction going out, but I can also see an incoming transaction here, waiting for 3 confirmations to go into my Phoenix wallet, and we're all set. So we basically were able to receive and now send and use this as a signing device by importing the keys from our QR code and approving a transaction, and then using QR codes to communicate back and forth in a fully air-gapped fashion. All right, we're now into method 2 of using the Jade in an air-gap method, this time without using a scannable QR every single time. So this is the other device that I had going here. And from the main screen, we're going to hit Setup Jade. We're going to hit Continue. We're going to still do advanced setup. And we're going to hit Continue. We're going to create a new wallet, and we'll do 12 words for this example. And we'll hit Continue. This is going to list our 12 words again. We'll go through it, we'll write them down, and we'll jump ahead. After getting through the 12 words, you're going to go through the confirmation process that we did the previous time. Now, this is different. When asked, would you like to export the recovery phrase as a compact seed QR? We're going to choose no. Now it says, would you like to add a BIP39 passphrase? You will need this to access your funds. We can, if we want. In this instance, I will, just so we see what it looks like. We'll hit yes, and I'm just going to do the ABC example again, and we'll hit the check mark. We can confirm that and say yes. Great. Now it says select connection. How would you like to connect? We're still going to choose QR. We're going to continue. Now this is different. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be utilizing a PIN that encrypts our data in our device, and it's going to be done in concert with what's called a blind oracle that is on Blockstream's servers. So let's see what this looks like. I'm going to choose a PIN. Again, for this example, we'll just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we'll confirm it. Okay, now at this point, and I should have done this at the very beginning of the PIN setup, but there is a QR code that you can scan that will take you to the Blockstream website, which is used basically to do a back and forth blind oracle PIN confirmation with them. I'll explain a little bit more about that later, but for the time being, I'm going to pull it up in my browser and you'll see what it looks like. And actually, if you do want to get that information, then just from this main QR screen, you can go over to the question mark and tap that, and that'll actually open up the same QR. And then just with your phone, with the camera, you scan that, and it will give you a link to go to. It'll offer up what type of browser you'd like to use. Select the one you'd like. Again, for this one, I'll just keep it simple and just do a regular browser. But Tor is available, just so you know. And it says, enter the PIN on your Jade to unlock, which we already did. We'll back out of this little link to Blockstream. And so we're going to hit done on our phone. Okay, it opens up our camera, and so we can scan this animated QR code on our Jade. Once it has scanned, it will give us an animated QR code, and we'll hit the check mark because we did number 1 of 4 on the Jade. We're going to now scan what's on our phone. This, once more, is going to spit back another QR code. We're on step 3 of 4. So we're basically doing some ping pong back and forth here. We're going to hit next. We're going to scan what's on the Jade again. You don't need to be super close to it. And now finally, we can scan the final set of QRs. So on the Jade, we hit that check mark once more. Camera. And once successfully scanned, which, by the way, on your phone you can hit done, you will get the successfully logged in screen. So it says session, and it says active down in the bottom left. So you've basically logged in. The everything is stored on the device, but you require a PIN and you require this blind oracle on Blockstream servers in order to log in properly. What this does is effectively it's taking your PIN information plus some information from the server over on Blockstream, combining them to encrypt the key information on your device. What this does is, because it doesn't have a secure element, if somebody were to take it and they were to try and access the key information on the device, even if you didn't have a passphrase, that would mean that they have no information whatsoever because it's encrypted by the PIN that unlocks the device, and it's encrypted by something on Blockstream's servers. So that prevents data loss and compromising of funds. Nonetheless, this thing is logged in, and we can now, as we did before, we can do things like going to wallet, export xpub, we can use it within Nunchuk. We can do all of that and we can sign and receive transactions exactly the same as we did before. The login process is different because it's PIN and blind oracle, but everything else is the same, including exporting to Nunchuk and sending and receiving transactions. It is all the same, but you don't have to scan your seed QR every single time because you have your 12 words and a passphrase. And with this, it's all housed in the device, but you get the QR scanning instead of plugging it in or using Bluetooth. So let's finish up with some final thoughts here. First off, I am very pleased with the new firmware update from Blockstream Jade. It adds a bunch of functionality that was, I think, maybe lacking a little bit when they initially rolled out kind of the air gap mode, and the interface update makes everything much easier to navigate, much less confusion and additional options that didn't need to kind of be so much of a labyrinth. Anyways, I find that this has worked quite well, and it pairs really well with things like Nunchuk. Actually, I have also used it with Sparrow Wallet on desktop, and that works beautifully as well in the air gap mode with the QR codes. Now, I think in terms of ease of use, my preference is in using the seed QR, where you literally scan it to log in and then add a passphrase. Reason being is, I mean, as you saw, the blind oracle option of scanning back and forth, it adds a number of steps. And sometimes the QRs don't scan perfectly. It can take a little while to kind of get through that process, and I encountered that a couple times. But both ways are quite convenient. So if you just want the device to house your keys, you have that option, or you can, again, have a separate key and then just use this as a signing device exclusively. Either way, you're pretty much covered. Now, the blind oracle thing that we kind of discussed in the previous section, again, kind of a cool solution to, again, the worry of having a seed phrase on a device that is that doesn't have a secure element. Of course, adding a passphrase also mitigates that risk as well. But again, you can kind of balance that. The other thing I was going to note is that running a blind oracle, so, you know, using the blind oracle option, there's a trade-off there in that there's some reliance on being able to contact Blockstream servers in that login process. The other option would be to run the blind oracle PIN server yourself. And so then you have control over that infrastructure. You're not reliant on Blockstream for that. That is an option. If I'm not mistaken, it will be rolling out for some of the plug and play node infrastructure. As soon as it hits Start 9, which is what I'm running, I will do a video on that as well. But outside of that, you know, there's your trade-off. The thing to consider when you're running your own infrastructure is, hey, if you've got your device in the same place as your node infrastructure and somebody compromises both those things simultaneously, it may not matter if you're running your own PIN server because it's all in one place. So you'd probably want those dispersed geographically at the very least. Nonetheless, very, very interesting, and I enjoyed it, but I do prefer the Seed QR. Now, I did mention something about scanning and the camera. And previously, I've had some trouble with the camera being hard to scan. Now, a lot of these issues have been mitigated, at least substantively so. And the way they've done that is with the QR density. And so you have the option to change QR density in the wallets and how you scan it. I still had a little bit of delay from time to time, and with some tinkering is fine. I also found that if you keep the device still and are just patient, it does scan. Whereas if you constantly try to adjust and do little things, it takes a moment to recenter and figure out what it's looking at. So just, you know, pick a spot, hold it, let it scan. If you see some progress, then you're doing it right. If it's doing nothing, then readjust and then stay still for a moment. Also, adjust the density, and that will likely solve or at least vastly help the problem you're encountering. Overall, big fan of what they've done in terms of these upgrades and these new features. And it just kind of bumps Jade further up that totem pole of usability and preference of mine in terms of how often it will be used. And yeah, I think it's again, they've done so much work adding great features and stuff to this thing that I'll give a tip of my hat to the team for all the hard work that they've been doing. So thanks to the guys in Blockstream that are putting their blood, sweat, and tears into improving the Jade and adding the latest and greatest for it. I look forward to hearing all of your comments on your experiences with the Jade, in particular using this air gap method, what you prefer, what you ran into, what you liked, what you didn't. Leave them all in the show notes, or not in the show notes, but in the comments down below the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, please do like, subscribe, share, all of those things. They only take a second, and they really do mean quite a bit. So go ahead, do it now. Hit that like button, share, subscribe if you haven't already. You can also help out the show in other ways. You can check out the previously mentioned sponsors, all in the show notes down below. Also, hey, do you need a little bit of extra help? Do you need some one-on-one action in order to get you through setting up either the Jade or something else in and around Bitcoin infrastructure that you just don't want to spend all the time yourself navigating it? Well, hey, you can go to my website, btcsessions.ca, and you could book me for private one-on-one sessions to get you through whatever hurdles that you're currently encountering. And that is just on the main website, right on the main page there. And finally, if you really liked what you saw, you can always, on the same website, btcsessions.ca, up on the top screen, look at the menu there and hit the tips button. What's that going to do? It's going to open up my own BTC Pay server where you can send me sats if you want to. You can do things like send me $1, you can buy me a coffee, you can help me run my node infrastructure, my streaming infrastructure, help me get hardware like this, which I can then review and make videos of for you, or just choose an amount and send it over either via Lightning or on-chain. Anyways, guys, that's enough of me here. Thank you so much for watching. I am Ben with the BTC Sessions. This was your daily session. I'll see you guys next time for your daily session.
Hodl the Bitcoin.